Ever wondered how much history lives inside your body? What ancient footsteps echo through your veins? What if your DNA wasn't just biology, but a storybook? In this video, we're diving straight into the shocking results of a groundbreaking genetic study that reveals the real origins of Californians. This isn't just about migration maps or family trees. It's about hard science, shaking up everything we thought we knew about California's past. Forget the textbook version of history. This is the version written in blood, bone, and code. And the biggest surprise, it's hiding inside you. The gold rush and global influx. Then came the year 1849 and the Great Gold Rush. News of gold at Sutter's Mill spread like wildfire, beckoning fortune seekers from across the globe. Wagon trains spilled east to west across the continent. River steamers ferried hopefuls up the Sacramento. Clipper ships navigated Cape Horn to San Francisco Bay. Prospectors arrived from Boston and Baltimore, from Dublin and Hamburg, from Naples and Stockholm. Chilean miners trekked north from the Andes, while African Americans, freshly emancipated or escaping violence, hoped to turn a nugget into a new life. In foothill camps, Coloma, Nevada City, Sonora, multicultural mining communities sprang up overnight. Genetic surveys of those regions reveal a remarkable tapestry. European mitochondrial haplogroups H1 and U5 from Ireland, J1 and T2 from Italy, I1 from Scandinavia, intermingled with Californio and indigenous lineages. A single family in Grass Valley may carry paternal roots to Cornwall's tin mines and maternal ties to Miwok ancestors. Those genealogical threads persist in descendants whose DNA tells of a gold-laden dream that reshaped the West. The railroad era of the 1860s brought a new chapter of hardship and contribution. Tens of thousands of Chinese laborers, motivated by famine at home and the promise of work, braved ocean crossings to San Francisco Bay. Many then trudged through fog and snow to the Sierra Nevada, using hand drills and black powder to blast tunnels and lay rails for the transcontinental link. After completion, some stayed, founding Chinatowns in San Francisco, Oakland, and beyond. Despite the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act, those already on American soil formed enduring communities. Today, genetic analyses detect East Asian markers and often mixed European or indigenous ancestry in families tracing back to those railroad builders. A generation later, Filipino sailors and laborers, known as the Manong generation, began arriving via American merchant ships and Hawaiian plantations. They found work in agriculture, canneries, and fishing fleets along the Central Coast and Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta. Their Southeast Asian mitochondrial lineages, often Tagalog or Ilocano, joined with existing Chinese, indigenous, and European genetics, adding fresh hues to California's genomic quilt. In the Bay Area today, many multi-generational families discover Filipino haplogroups that trace back to rice terraces and island ports across the Pacific. Subscribe and comment for more content. 20th century migrations and modern diversity. The early 20th century saw Japanese orchardists turning Central Valley soil into fruit-bearing groves, while Korean entrepreneurs and laborers established dry goods stores in Los Angeles. South Asian migrants, primarily Sikh Punjabis, settled orchard and dairy towns in the Central Valley. Middle Eastern refugees, Armenians, Syrians, Lebanese fleeing Ottoman collapse, built businesses in Fresno and Bakersfield. Each wave infused new genetic variants into local populations, reflected in Y chromosome and mitochondrial lineages still present in those regions. World War II's defense boom ignited the Great Migration of African Americans from the Jim Crow South. Shipyards in Richmond, aircraft factories in Long Beach, and munitions plants across the Bay Area offered work and relative safety. Those migrants carried West African mitochondrial haplogroups alongside European admixture, an echo of centuries of American historical complexity. They settled in West Oakland, East Palo Alto, Los Angeles' South Central, and Stockton, where their descendants contribute to California's cultural vibrancy and genetic richness. In the 21st century, genomic technology revealed a stunning twist. Small traces of Denisovan DNA, an archaic human relative first identified in Siberia, within ancient remains recovered from California's Channel Islands and Delta sites. Though comprising less than 1% of the modern genome, these archaic fragments suggest that the first Californians carried Denisovan genes from Asia across Beringia. This discovery links today's residents to chapters of human evolution that predate modern Homo sapiens, underscoring an even deeper ancestral tapestry. Future insights and cultural revivals. Modern California continues to draw global talent. Tech professionals from Bangalore, São Paulo, Tel Aviv, and Nairobi converge in Silicon Valley. Entrepreneurs from Eastern Europe and Southeast Asia launch startups. Asylum seekers from Central America, Afghanistan, and Ukraine establish new homes. Children of mixed heritage, one parent from Oaxaca, the other from Kerala, one grandparent from Seoul, another from Vilnius, inherit genomes that mirror the global crossroads California has become. Genetic testing of these populations reveals multi-genomic profiles, combining Native American, European, African, and several Asian haplogroups. Yet regional patterns remain strong. Mountain towns, Redding, Quincy, Nevada City, show higher proportions of native Californian and early European markers due to relative isolation and earlier settlement. The Central Valley, Modesto, Fresno, Bakersfield, reflects agriculture-driven migrations with Latin American, Southeast Asian, and South Asian ancestries prominent. Coastal metropolises, Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, display dazzling mosaics of indigenous, European, African, and multiple Asian lineages, interwoven in just a few generations. Subscribe our channel for more such videos. Scientists have distilled a subtle but consistent California signature, a cluster of allele frequency patterns distinct to native-born Californians and long-term residents. The signature arises from centuries of intermarriage, migration, displacement, and cultural fusion. Though newcomers arrive daily, those born and raised here inherit and add to this unique regional genetic mosaic. Today, millions of Californians use direct-to-consumer ancestry testing services and participate in community DNA projects. Town halls host tribal genetic workshops. Libraries offer genealogy classes. High school students explore DNA labs. In living rooms, grandparents marvel as grandchildren discover ties to Miwok elders, to Cornish miners, or to Hawaiian sugarcane workers. DNA-driven heritage tours fuel visits to tribal reservations, mission museums, and historical societies. As people confirm or uncover lineages, enrollment in tribal roles sometimes increases, and multicultural festivals celebrate the state's intricate web of origins. Still, genetics is only one strand in identity's tapestry. Language, faith, culture, and shared experiences bind communities as strongly as shared DNA. But understanding genetic roots can foster empathy, heal historic wounds, and cultivate solidarity. When a San Diego teen learns her mitochondrial DNA matches that of a Kumeyaay grandmother, or when a Los Angeles artist finds paternal links to a Chinese railroad laborer and a California ranchero, these revelations bridge centuries and remind us of our shared humanity. Researchers continually refine methods, extracting DNA from waterlogged bones, integrating archaeological context with genomic profiles, and combining pollen analysis with ancient environmental DNA. Future discoveries may uncover maritime trade connections with Polynesia, pre-Columbian interactions along Pacific islands, or ties to Central American civilizations. Each new finding rewrites California's sprawling saga, reminding us that the state's story is still unfolding. For everyone born beneath redwood canopies, desert blooms, or neon city lights, your DNA is a living archive. It chronicles survival in frozen lands, devotion under mission churches, courage on gold-laden rivers, resilience in wartime industries, and ingenuity in digital labs. It traces voyages across oceans and treks through mountain passes, each allele a testament to human migration and adaptation. So, when you walk along the shore at sunset, hike beneath coastal oaks, or hail a ride across a glittering skyline, remember, you carry within you echoes of every person who passed through this land, archaic cousins from Siberia, native tribes weaving baskets, Spanish priests planting vineyards, gold rush dreamers panning rivers, Filipino sailors navigating the Pacific, Chinese laborers drilling tunnels, African-American shipyard workers forging liberty ships, Japanese orchardists tending groves, Sikh farmers in the fields, refugees rebuilding lives, and the innovators of Silicon Valley still shaping tomorrow. In the decades ahead, as climate shifts reshape coastlines and mountain ecosystems, future Californians may uncover DNA evidence of adaptive genes linked to drought tolerance and heat resilience. Archaeobotanical studies combined with genomic analysis could reveal how native tribes selectively managed plant resources, cultivating seeds with higher nutrient density or greater cold resistance. These seeds, passed down through millennia, may still influence modern agricultural staples in family gardens and community farms. Imagine stumbling upon a centuries-old ledger in an Oakland attic, listing names of Chinese laborers who married members of Pomo and Maidu tribes. Modern descendants, curious about this intergenerational alliance, submit their DNA for study and find a unique genetic signature, a rare mitochondrial haplogroup from Yunnan province interwoven with local indigenous markers. This discovery inspires cross-cultural reunions as descendants from both lineages gather to share oral histories, restore basket-weaving traditions, and document plant-based medicines once traded along ancient waterways. In a Napa Valley vineyard, an enologist notices a grapevine with unusually thick leaves and drought-resistant rootstocks. Genetic testing reveals that the vine's lineage traces back to a wild grape species once cultivated by Chumash vintners in sun-drenched coastal terraces. This unexpected connection prompts winemakers to partner with tribal elders, reviving ceremonial grape harvests performed under full moons. DNA sequences extracted from wine sediments corroborate the vine's heritage, revealing enzyme variants linked to flavor compounds once prized in native feasts. On the campus of a major California university, a team of students from diverse backgrounds collaborates on a project to map genetic contributions to asthma resistance. By comparing DNA samples from urban Los Angeles cohorts and rural Central Valley communities, they identified gene variants passed down from early Mexican ranchero families associated with lower asthma incidence. These variants, inherited through complex intermarriage patterns among Californios, indigenous Yokuts, and immigrant farm workers, provide insights into public health strategies tailored to local populations. In San Diego, a community center hosts a genetic storytelling workshop where elders share tales of family migrations and youth connect these narratives to modern DNA test results. One participant discovers Ashkenazi Jewish ancestry fused with Paiute lineages, reflecting a great-grandparent who arrived by steamship and married a local homesteader in the 1920s. Another student uncovers Himalayan haplogroups alongside Californio ranchera heritage, hinting at early Sikh laborers from Punjab who traveled west via Panama Canal workers. Each revelation strengthens intergenerational bonds and spawns new community art projects celebrating shared roots. Further north, researchers exploring underwater archaeological sites in the San Francisco Bay extract environmental DNA that hints at ancient trade with Mesoamerican cultures. Sediment samples reveal traces of maize varieties genetically linked to ancestors in Oaxaca and Central America, suggesting prehistoric seafaring connections. If confirmed, this finding would rewrite chapters of North American prehistory, illustrating that California's original inhabitants participated in broader Pacific trade networks more than 1,000 years ago. In the tech corridors of Silicon Valley, geneticists develop algorithms that predict ancestral contributions with pinpoint geographic accuracy. An engineer of mixed East African and Mexican descent uploads family tree data to find that his paternal line traces to Somali traders in 18th century Zanzibar. His maternal line connects to Otomi ancestors in central Mexico. Encouraged by this clarity, he co-founds a startup offering interactive ancestry visualizations, enabling users to walk virtual reconstructions of ancestral villages and pilgrimage routes encoded in their genomes. As medical genomics advances, people discover that certain gene variants inherited from gold rush prospector forebears confer resilience to neurodegenerative conditions, variants that arose in European populations adapting to high-altitude mining regions. Similarly, Southeast Asian alleles, carried by descendants of Filipino fisher folk, show protective effects against certain metabolic disorders. Personalized medicine, informed by these genetic legacies, tailors diets and therapies to individual ancestral compositions, blending ancient wisdom with modern science. In the coastal marshes near San Rafael, citizen scientist volunteers study sediment cores and align pollen DNA with human genetic data from local Miwok families. They uncover botanical remains of an indigenous reed used to craft canoe planks, linking it to genetic markers and contemporary pedigrees. A revival of canoe-building programs emerges, teaching youth traditional navigation techniques and fostering cultural pride rooted in both ancestral memory and scientific validation. Meanwhile, state parks integrate genetic heritage trails alongside hiking routes. Visitors scanning QR codes on trailheads access profiles of tribal communities, early ranchero settlements, and railway camps, complete with genetic lineage maps illustrating the diverse peoples who shaped the terrain. These interactive experiences encourage respectful engagement with the land, emphasizing stewardship and acknowledging ancestral caretakers. By mid-century, California's fire-prone landscapes prompt studies into genetic traits, conferring resilience to extreme wildfire smoke. Researchers trace a network of gene variants from Central Valley farmworker families, whose ancestors arrived from high smoke regions in Punjab, to present-day communities skilled in managing prescribed burns. Recognizing these inherited connections, land managers collaborate with tribal fire practitioners to design controlled burn regimes that blend traditional ecological knowledge with genomic insights, reducing risk and restoring ecological balance. On the North Coast, marine biologists sequence DNA from oyster beds near Humboldt Bay, detecting alleles shared with Aleut fishermen's descendants. Historical records mention Russian fur trappers and Aleut hunters working on coastal schooners. Genetic data now confirm decades-old oral histories. Joint conservation efforts between tribal councils and academic institutions revive oyster restoration projects, guided by a shared understanding of ancestral marine stewardship, a living genetic manuscript. At the intersection of genetics and the arts, choreographers create dances inspired by migratory patterns revealed in DNA data. One performance traces the southward journey of early coastal foragers, incorporating movements echoing sea waves, mountain winds, and eagle flights. Another piece interprets the rhythmic chiseling of Chinese railroad workers, the gold-panning motions of miners, and the vine-tending gestures of vintners. These performances tour theaters statewide, inviting audiences to embody the genetic journeys within their own cells. Educational curricula integrate genetic history modules in public schools, where students sequence model organisms, yeast and corn, to understand basic inheritance, then apply these principles to human ancestry. Class projects include mapping genetic distances between classmates, fostering appreciation for both differences and connections. School gardens planted with native and heirloom species serve as living labs, linking plant genetics to human and cultural genetics, and illustrating co-evolutionary relationships. In every corner of California, from desert towns to urban centers, genetic revelations ignite community dialogues on identity, belonging, and responsibility. As water scarcity, wildfires, and social inequities challenge the state, shared heritage narratives rooted in DNA discoveries become a source of solidarity. Recognizing that all Californians carry the legacies of tribal stewards, migrant laborers, and innovators alike fosters a deeper commitment to caring for both land and neighbors. Ultimately, the story embedded in California genes is one of unbroken adaptation. It is written not in stone tablets, but in living cells, continually edited by each new arrival. By exploring this genetic manuscript, Californians can better understand their past, appreciate their present, and steward their future. After all, the book of life is open-ended, and each person adds a page. And in the years ahead, when Californians look at their DNA tests, they might find surprising mixes, like Arctic hunter roots combined with Pacific Island sailor genes, or old Spanish family lines blended with farm worker ancestry. These discoveries will spark conversations in homes and schools, encouraging people to keep endangered languages alive, cook traditional recipes again, and care for special natural places. Every genetic finding will help us feel more connected to where we live and why it matters. By learning and sharing these stories, each person helps protect California's history and ensures our shared story continues for many generations. If this exploration of California's genetic origins moved you, please like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe for more journeys into our shared human story. Comment below with the most surprising ancestry connection you've discovered, and let's keep unraveling the threads that bind us beyond time and place.